live.
That doesn't mean move it away.
What?
That doesn't mean move it away.
Don't want people to hate fun.
Can I go ahead and open this meeting? Would you please rise and say the pledge with us, please? Is there any additions, under additions and deletions? Dan, we do not have your thing up for a open meet, a pre-hearing meeting or anything, and I believe our attorney talked to you today, and it will be on the agenda on the I think what the next one is, the 26th?
Yes.
April 26th meeting, okay? Okay. Is there a motion to approve the council minutes and 2 executive sessions on March 22nd, 2021?
I move that we approve the council minutes of March 22nd, the executive session of March 22nd, and the executive session March 22nd.
Motion, is there a second?
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed by nay. Motion carries. Reports. Councilman Moulton. I was going to say Kincaid and really messed with you.
Yeah. None at this time. Thanks.
Okay. Councilwoman Fons.
Just that I attended the Joint Powers meeting, and that was it.
Okay. Councilman Kincaid.
Oh, yes. I participated in the Planning and Zoning monthly meeting last week on April 6th. We discussed ordinances for the hemp and cannabis growing in around the town of Glen Rock or town limits. A lot of discussion going on that, which we need to get more research and reviews of other town communities in this new industry. So, and we're also working on Chapter 19 and 31 and ordinances, trying to make them more consistent so things aren't overlapping. So that's our project for right now.
Okay. Councilwoman Nunn.
Oh, yes, sir. Hit it, Jared. Oh, yeah, see this? Okay. I would like you to meet Amy Clark, the director of the Converse County Block Grant Program. Amy is sitting in her office in Douglas. This is part of her teaching station for her program for the Certified Nurses Assistant. Amy and Vicki Winnie, a registered nurse from Douglas, are teaching this program down there. 17 of the 19 people that have passed this program are currently working in public health in Douglas today. They range in age from about 18 to about 75. One lady down there is driving a bus and wanted the certification so she could safely drive her kids around town, which I thought was great. Amy and Vicki would like to start a full program here in Glen Rock to offer the same training to people in our community. I'm going to ask Amy and Vicki to attend the next meeting so that they can explain what is involved in setting up this program. There is some special equipment needed, who qualifies for this program, and a little bit more of how this program specifically works. I think it's a splendid idea. I'm so happy to see people getting training that they can get a job with and training that can move them into other fields of health work. The block grant program offers a hand up to people, not a handout. And thank you to anyone in the community who handed in the survey for this program. Many good happenings in our community. The Conoco Refinery is planning to start the week of April 19th on their soil redemption project. Hopefully we'll see some green trees out there this summer. A very exciting project is going on down at the library. They are going to take They are going to take the old library and try to make it into try to make it into a Glen Rock meeting hall. I think Scott has more information on what all is planned down there, but this could be a really nice asset for our community to have. Congratulations to Rolling Hills for stuffing 7,000 eggs for an Easter egg hunt with contributions from the Rocky Mountain Power. What a happy experience for the children of our community. COVID shots are now available for anyone 18 and over who wishes to receive one at no cost. Information is available through the Douglas Hospital. Mr. Dalgrade, I thought I saw him walk in somewhere. Dalgard. I'll get it someday. Don't give up on me.
To your left, there he is.
There he is. There he is. Mr. Dalgard, do you have any other information on that program that you'd like to pass on?
I don't have any new information you haven't covered.
That's good. I hope that people take advantage of it. And now, finally, Mr. Mayor, I move that all investigations concerning Chief Thiel immediately be terminated and dropped, and that Chief Thiel be reinstated as the Chief of Police in Glen Rock.
That's your prerogative.
Ask for a second, please.
For a motion on that, under state statute and under city ordinance, he works at, he's appointed by me, and he is also works at my pleasure, and that motion cannot be made. You don't hire him, you don't tell him what to do, you're not his boss.
So therefore,
That cannot be done.
all of the investigations that are going on
Will continue.
will continue to go on,
Yes, ma'am.
and there are currently 3 of them.
2.
2. Okay.
Okay?
Then therefore, 2 parties have delivered to the council documents dealing with this situation. If either or both of these parties would like to address their concerns to the council, I hope they would do it under items from the floor. One more question. Are you ready?
Sure.
Okay, Bruce. What's up with the sign on the west side of town?
The one that's missing?
Have they got it glued back together yet?
No, they're not going to close that. There's one being made.
Oh, the one that they're knocked down out there along the highway.
There's one being made.
It came from Wisconsin. We're waiting for the parts. They should hopefully have them within the next month to us.
It's been down a long time. People might not recognize it as Glen Rock.
Takes a little while to carve that back out of granite again.
Yep.
Okay.
I don't know if this is for the police or for you, but the digital sign out there for speed limit, that's been off for a while. We get
Yeah,
that back on?
Coulter talked to me today. They got the solar panel and all that. I didn't know anything was going on with it, so
Okay.
but I don't know what he's planning on doing.
Okay.
What about the motion on the floor?
Motion on the floor cannot go any further because it's a motion that cannot be made. It's under state statutes and it's under, do you want to tell them what it is?
I can tell everybody. Hello, everyone. My name is Amy Iberlin, and I'm the town attorney. The motion made by Margaret this evening is an illegal motion. It cannot go forward at this time. The ordinance that we're citing to is 2-21-040.
That's a town ordinance? that a yes, it's a town ordinance?
Yes.
Which one?
Department obligations. I can read it for everybody if you'd like. Perfect. The chief of police shall be directly responsible to the mayor and under general direction for the maintenance of law and order and for the enforcement of the laws of the United States of America, the state of Wyoming, and the ordinance of the town of Glen Rock. So what I can tell you folks is that this matter is being investigated, and we don't have the ability to move forward on this matter until the investigation is completed.
Going on with reports, Tammy.
I have two things. The Corbly scholarships are due on Friday. Scholarship applications are due on Friday. And Big Broom, we initially put out on Facebook that it was going to be the first week of May, but it's actually going to be changed to the second week of May. We had some scheduling issues, so it'll be the 10th through the 14th, but the Trees for Trash trees will still be available up at the landfill on the 4th, because that's the day we have to pick them up. So starting the 4th, people can get trees at the landfill. That's all I have.
Okay. Kelly, treasurer.
Mayor and council, just working on getting our budget books put together. All of the allocations have come in to unless there's any new ones that show up, but the deadline was last Friday. And just getting numbers put together, and the meeting is Wednesday night. I can't remember, did we say 6?
6 o'clock, yeah. Randy, Public Works.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The crew's been busy with garbage collection, water leak repair, street sweeping, washing all the sewers, sewer mains, meter upgrades, and park work and repairs. We got a small leak in the concession stand on the roof, so we're motoring that in. We'll get that fixed here, probably be done tomorrow. Got the shop that the crew built done and for all our attachments for our skid steer, and that's complete. Boring on Cedar and 5th Street is complete for fiber. They have Aspen left to go all the way down that. They went all the way through where the splash pad's going to be, and then they're going down Aspen and up the alley to the fire hall. So they'll have fiber there to work their system better. And Caspar is moving equipment in. I visited with them today, and they're hoping to be breaking ground this week on the splash pad in the park.
Randy, how does the tree program work? The trees for trash.
You take trash up, and they give you a tree, from what I understand.
Yeah, you get to
Or what you take in. Do they have trees left over ever?
No, they're all given out. So
Because
every year that I've been here, they've been given out.
it would be nice if there was trees left over. We might plant them somewhere out, like at the business park or someplace. Get a little bit of trees out in there.
I think I'd rather buy bigger trees. These are about that tall.
That's good.
So
What kind are they? Do you know?
You can get with me. I've got a list of them.
She's got a list.
So you have a choice of what tree you want to put in
Yes.
on your property?
Yep.
Okay, sounds good. I hope you give away a lot of them. Our trees took a big hit this winter with that last storm.
Yeah, it was.
Jared, IT.
Hey, good evening, Mayor and Council. Been working on a couple demos for some cybersecurity products, and we should be wrapping those up and seeing if we need to add those to the budget. Also working on, with a little bit of better weather, getting things scheduled to get the tower work finished and get some cameras located out and get the ones that are at South Rec and the town park replaced with some new ones, and then also backhauled through that tower wireless link that we're adding. And yeah, that's about it. And also, Randy had mentioned that fiber project, and that fiber is going from here to the new splash pad so that we can feed, get internet and everything out there, as well as, host any other services that we need to. And then it's going to continue on over to the fire hall and the public works building so we can get those networks incorporated into the main network here via fiber. So that'll be a pretty big help for all those facilities.
Any questions for Jared? Jeff?
Actually, Bruce, I'm here on public as a citizen, not for the fire department.
So nobody's here for the fire department tonight?
Next meeting,
Okay.
Sean will be here.
Okay. Being that the end of reports, we'll move on to items from the floor. Yep.
Got two things. Thank you, Mayor and Council. Number one, John, we talked about getting a project. We still haven't got that sign out at the South Rec for the Taylor Arena. And the last time I was up here, I asked you guys if you could pick it up and we could get it out to them and have them taken care of.
Who's them? Because I can't remember who them is.
Out to who? To them?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Stuart. He'll take care of it. And we need to get that done. We got summer coming up in the rodeo arena.
Gave the list. I don't know if you still have it.
I have it.
I talked to Chris, and he said that he had given Randy all the dimensions and everything, because I asked him if he had picked it up, and he said no. He said, I still can't go in there and get it. They won't leave it to me. We had that conversation at the last meeting I was here. Next thing is it true that the DCI has cleared this investigation, or what? We hear a lot of comments, and I'd like to find out just what the heck is going on.
I can't give you a comment on that at this time. Maybe Amy can tell you something.
I know everyone's interested in this, and I can tell you that we're doing everything we can. We've hired an independent investigator. Her name is Elena Stadelli. It's been reported in the Glen Rock Independent. I just read the article about that. The investigation is ongoing, and when that investigation is concluded, we'll be able to move forward in terms of wrapping up our portion of the investigation.
Do you have any idea when this could? Because this is a small community. We're not like New York City where we have great big things happen here.
I know. I don't have a good indication when Ms. Stadelli will finish that report. I know that she just recently switched firms, but I can tell you that she's very diligent and she's working very hard. I can also tell you that based on the ordinance I read, the mayor can place an employee on administrative leave indefinitely. And there's nothing the council could do about that. And so we are not going to make any rash decisions. We're going to wait for the investigation to close.
Is she getting paid by the hour?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. I was in the fall talking about Sunup Ridge and the second access in and out of that, and I just figured with the budget season in, I'd come and ask again about that, if that's something that you guys would look at in the budget, building more houses, more people, see lots for sale. Be nice to, we're going to increase the population. It'll also be nice to have that second entrance is required in the subdivision. So, and I understand that it wasn't done when it was built way back when, but I think now the town's had taken the subdivision in.
And I don't know we can actually cross part of that property where that's at, because that property's been sold 3 or 4 times. So we have to look at
that lookout one. I think probably you'd have a battle, but there might be other places you could go down. You know, I'm just making a suggestion that maybe to the north of that, down that draw and dump out at Box Elder might be an option. Just looking, you know.
That's tying onto the state highway, and that's a limited access onto the highway. Right. So it would be a project to get another access to the Wyoming State Highway Department and pay for turning lanes. So,
but I'm sure the town would be able to have a lot more stroke with it than a citizen would. So
yeah, I think it's
just bringing it up for everybody to keep on their mind.
Jeff, I think it's a good idea. I think we need to explore that a little bit.
I think it's a real good idea. I mean, with the AML stuff going on up there and this and that, you never know. You're one one pothole or sinkhole from not having access to up there. Yes,
there,
ma'am.
is there any law that requires that there be two accesses to a housing development like
I
that?
believe it's in the subdivision law through the state.
It's in the subdivision ordinances that when a subdivision is built, there has to be two egress, ingress out of the subdivision, and the town should have never accepted that as a subdivision back when it was done because there was never a second egress out of the subdivision.
So who is responsible for taking care of this issue at this time?
It falls on us now, but the problem is the right-of-way was never, what I know can find or see that there's not a right-of-way out of there. There's a utility easement, but it's not a right-of-way for a road. It should have gone down past the Lutheran Church and past Arlene Jackson's house and down the hill and tie in out there to Lookout.
So if we are responsible for this now, does this make us liable for land lawsuits if there's some bad incident because there's not a second access out of there?
I'm not sure about that.
Can you repeat the question?
If we are responsible for this second access out of that subdivision up there, does that make us, the town, legally responsible if there's some bad incident up there because there is no second access?
There would have to be some casually related damage caused because we don't have a second access
But
point.
should that happen, are we liable?
I would have to know the facts and circumstances before I can say whether we're liable for something like that.
Would you check it, please, and let us know?
I will.
And really like Deer Street, I think at one time it was supposed to go down around the hill because it kind of dead ends there. So you got really one there
We
as
have
well.
more than one subdivision that was never properly completed
Right.
in
So
the town.
I just, wanted to come and visit with you again about that. And now that it's warming up, I'll work on the other thing with the lights. So thank you for your time.
Good luck with that.
Good evening, council members and mayor. For those who don't know me, my name is Amy Needham. And for the last 3 years, I have had the honor to serve the victims and survivors of Converse County, obviously including Glenrock, through the Converse Hope Center. If you don't know, I just recently resigned as the executive director, and I wanted to make some points, some statistics that I was noticing in the last month before I left. There has been a significant drop in the members of the Glenrock community reaching out for help since Chief Thiel was removed from his position. When Chief Thiel first came to this town, we had victims and survivors coming up to us, asking for help on a regular basis. Our numbers skyrocketed. And I remember reporting those numbers to you for our grants last year because of the significant increase that we were seeing and all the people that we were helping. And that's why you all helped us with a little more money in our funding last year. We could prove to you the numbers were up. We proved that we were doing good. We proved that we were working with Chief Thiel. I also remember specifically writing you each a letter praising your decision to hire somebody who came into this town and wanted so badly to help its community members. Not only Chief Thiel, but his wife as well. They both dove into this community and didn't think twice about helping others. This is kind of an emotional situation for me because when I see victims and survivors not reaching out for help because they don't think that they can trust the people they're reaching out to, it makes me physically ill. And I know that you have due process to go through, and I know that there's ups and downs to this, and there's pretty much at your disposal on what you want to do, Mayor. But I would highly suggest putting Chief Thiel back into place so your victims and survivors in this town can feel comfortable getting help again. There's been a huge decline in phone calls from Glenrock, and some people have made complaints that they've reported abuses, neglect, bullying to the schools and to the police departments in the last month that haven't been reported to us. We've heard from victims saying that they've asked for our help and they have not gotten a phone call from us or nobody has passed on information like they'd wished.
I would like to make a statement there. I believe our police department is operating just fine, and so is our school district. And if there's a report that has come in from somebody of that going on to our police department, it will be looked into. And I will affirm that our police department is taking care of anything that comes through the door.
I'm not completely bashing on our police department, sir. I'm just stating the fact that there has been a decline in calls. There have been people reporting issues. And just because they don't make it to your desk, I don't know why they would, sir. No disrespect, but you're not an advocate. The advocates are the ones that deal with these people on the ground every day, and we see what they're afraid of, and we see what is making them
I believe
uncomfortable.
our police department is an advocate of that, and I don't believe they would ignore that. None of them, or dispatchers or police, any of our police officers.
Well, I didn't come up here for an argument. I just came to tell you the
I'm
statistics.
just telling you, don't come tell me my police department isn't working right, because it is.
So I didn't tell you your police department wasn't working right. I'm telling you there's a problem. I'm not saying who it is. I'm not pointing out individuals. I'm pointing out the statistics that I saw while I was the director. And as I can appreciate your due process, I think that you're doing the town a complete disservice by not having him in this position. Thank you.
Is there a reason why you resigned?
Yeah, I'm 40 years old and I got great dreams, so I figured it was my time to do something else.
Okay.
Yes, sir. I'll still be working as a volunteer with the Converse Hope Center because I think that what they've done and what they've become over the last 5 years has been amazing. And I'm extremely proud of what I've done there. Yeah. And, yeah, I wouldn't turn my back on this county even if I moved away.
Yeah.
Thank
you.
you.
Weren't leaving.
Yes, thank you very much. I'll still be around to be a pain in everybody's butt. Make no mistakes about it. I'm not going anywhere.
Thank you for what you've done. Working with Amy, I have seen a tremendous need in our town that I was not even aware is here. And if you're not out on the street in contact with some of these cases, I don't think you are aware of them. I do not believe that right now in Glen Rock we have people living in cars. In Douglas today we have people living in cars. And I'm sure that will soon arrive in Glen Rock, and this is just a sad type of thing that we as a community need to be very aware of and be working very hard to do anything we can to help these members of our community. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Thank you for your time.
Mr. Mayor, Council, my name is Samantha Bishop. First, I'd like to clarify a little bit of the not against the police department that Amy was saying with being advocates. A little over 2 years ago, myself and Rochelle Balcazar did a training with the police department here where we discussed what the Hope Center does and how together with the Hope Center and the police department we can make a better and safer community. During that training, we gave everybody our cards and stuff like that to hand out and stuff. And the reports that have come back are not against the police department. They were just saying that I was never told this resource was available. And that's what she was getting with that. Like when people come to the Hope Center, they will tell us what they're afraid of, and if it's the police department or if they didn't get something that they felt they needed to get, then they let us know that. Also, I do have a question. I am curious as to why Chief Thiel wants things to be public. He wants transparency, and he asked for that at a council meeting, and all he got in response was moving on. And why the secret part from the entire town seems to be coming from the council and from the mayor. So if we could get a little bit of clarification on that, why...
It's a personnel matter, and we cannot speak about it in public at this time.
Do you have a date?
No, I do not.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Mr. Mayor, Council, I want to shift gears on you a little bit and talk about something a little more fun.
Would you state your name?
My name is Rusty Henderson. I own Naughty Pine Saloon. I come to you tonight as a legislative rep for Wyoming Central Debate. I just wanted to give you a little information, give you a heads up. We are planning on continuing our Hog Fest celebration out at South Rec. I will be getting with Tammy this week and getting all the paperwork so we can get on the agenda for the next meeting. I would hope that you will support us. The tentative date, or actually the actual date that we want, is July 30th, July 31st, and August 1st. We are increasing our event by 1 day this year due to the massive turnout of last year.
Wasn't that on the books?
I believe that.
I don't believe that the applications have been turned in, Roy.
Right, but I think.
Yeah, but I think we wrote preliminary last year after Hog Fest about what dates they were going to try to hold this year, and I think
Right.
think
Well,
that was covered.
last year Hog Fest was a little weird because of the COVID. We juggled and we juggled and we juggled. This year we're trying to be ahead of it and not have to juggle so many
So
times.
we don't have to juggle a fourth this year.
That's the reason for the late application that will not be coming out till probably next week, simply because we're of the uncertainty. So,
No, please get with Tammy and get your applications back in.
absolutely. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
We do have you on the schedule for the 30th, the 31st, and the 1st.
Any other items from the floor? If not, we'll move on to new business. Oh, wait a minute. Jim. Yeah, that's a good place for you to do that. Sorry, Jim.
That's right. Mr. Mayor, Council, Jim Willicks, County Commissioner. I just wanted to come up and talk a little bit about the Mormon Canyon Road and the bike path, just make sure we're all on the same path there. We had a little bit of rocky start when we were trying to get it all coordinated and doing this. I know Randy's been attending a couple of meetings, and I think the drawings are at 30% is kind of what I heard for the road, and I know you guys are working on the path part of it. And I know you guys are working on the budget part of it and how that'll all fit together. Just two things to make sure we're all on the same page on. Whatever you decide on the path, whether you're going to do all of it, part of it, or actually none of it this year or this cycle, there are going to be costs to preserve the right to do the path in that first, I'll call it the first 300-400 yards from the street past the sandstone. And whether you build it this year or not, and I know you got a lot of options, and we're not sure what that looks like yet, and I know that's kind of frustrating to not know what that number looks like yet, because it'll depend on how much sandstone we have to move to create either the space for the road and the path, or and that depends a little bit on the design. Is the path connected to the road? Is it separated from the road? And all that has some cost and some, how much ground are we going to move there? And then once we get outside the sandstone, then we got tons of room and options there. But I know that process is moving forward. I don't know if it's on your agenda tonight, the HDR. Okay, it's not quite ready yet. Okay. When you get that, then we can, of course, we'll be the signator with your approval, of course, because that's kind of how the MOU is set up. But you've got to sign off on that piece of it that makes sense. I just was coming this direction tonight, and I told Bruce when I was at the Joint Powers meeting I'd stop by and just visit if you guys had any questions about how we're advancing with that. But I think we're moving at a nice pace. Most of those expenses will be in next fiscal year. I know you hadn't budgeted this fiscal year. We had set some aside for the road. But quite frankly, by the time the bid's let and we're actually moving dirt, it will probably be after July 1. So that does help from budgeting standpoint. There'll be a little bit of engineering expense probably in this fiscal year, but the major expense would be after July 1. And again, hopefully we'll get closer on those numbers. But I just wanted to come in and visit to see if you guys had any questions, how we're going to coordinate this and move forward. I know Randy's been to several meetings and is in the loop for you guys particularly, but just thought I'd swing by and then any generic commissioner questions, I'd be glad, but mainly start with Mormon Canyon.
Thanks for showing up and giving us an update.
Margaret, yeah.
If this path is not incorporated in this design at this time, could it ever be created in the future?
In my opinion, no. Only because of that first chunk. Because that first chunk of the sandstone, and then it's pretty tight between the residents and the storage units that are there. There was one, again, conceptual. We might have to do a retaining wall to create enough width to have both a road and a path. And then in the sandstone, absolutely not, because we've got to over-excavate to create enough room for the road and the path. And so if we don't, I shouldn't say if we don't do it now, you can't, but if you don't do it now, it would be probably cost prohibitive to do in the future. So I'm not saying you have to do the whole thing, but I think you have to preserve the space, if you will, the width requirement from the street past the sandstone.
I know at the last meeting Randy was down to with HDR. That was some of the questions that we had for them. We got the drawings. It was amazing how much of the hillside that they're looking along through the sandstone that they're actually taking out and trying to keep that roadway, part of that roadway open the whole time while that is going on.
And not fall into the creek.
Yeah, hopefully not fall into the creek, or you're going to be building a bridge and it's going to get real expensive.
Yeah.
But that was one request we still have in with HDR, and we've been told that they were going to be working on that to help us. So we got some ideas more towards budgetary numbers that we can bring into this next fiscal year.
And we're really staying out of the pathway discussion just so we can incorporate it. But I think, and then there's been questions of whether the path is on the east or west side. And at at our selection meeting, half of us thought it'd be on the west side and half of us thought it'd be on the east side, and there's good reasons for both. But how far do we shift everything and make sure we do it? And again, you guys get to decide what that looks like. We just want to make sure that we don't box it in when we redo the road.
Hey, Jim, are we going to take some of those curves out when we take that sand?
Yeah, that's part of the idea. And all that has a cost and reward to it. So how much are we going to straighten it? But we want to get away from the creek, make the sight lines better. And then depending on how the path is, some of those sight lines, if the path parallels the road, which it will likely either connected or disconnected, you also want to increase some of that as well.
Yeah, so, for safety reasons,
Just so you know, the discussions I've had at the meetings, I haven't had a chance to talk to Jim, but I have requested 2 different bids from HDR, estimated engineering bids with construction. And that was one to build the walk path and leave it gravel for now, or complete it with pavement, because we might try to go after a TAP grant to pave it. So, but I think we ought to build it and maybe just leave gravel for now and then do the TAP grant next year. It won't be 21, it'll be 22 before we can do that.
And Randy had, like Jim's talking about, we have 30% drawings, and Randy has a set of drawings upstairs that you're more than welcome to go look at, because where they're cutting into that hillside, there's quite a bit of straightening, and line of sight up through there is going to be dramatically changed. It'll be way better. So if you got anytime you guys come in, please come in and go upstairs and look at that set of drawings. Randy has them on his desk. He can put it out on the table. You guys are welcome to look at it, and he can answer any questions you need.
And I assume, Randy, I assume it incorporates the road and the pathway, the 30% that you've got. Yeah. Jason's been doing our stuff, so I haven't seen it.
On the east or west? East. Yeah, okay.
Path on the east? Okay, I didn't know. There's arguments for both sides, next to the creek or away from the creek.
HDR agrees that we need to be on the east just because of the creek.
Okay.
Especially out on that rough edge where that's really bad in that sand rock. It's better to put it to the east side.
Yeah, Mark.
Has this created any kind of serious problems for that homeowner out there?
I don't think, we're fully acknowledge what it is, and so we've got to deal with it. There's no, as far as I know, there's no encroachment, there's just no extra room, and so it's going to be really tight there to trying to get it all done there. But I, to my knowledge, they've done all the surveying. They actually got a bunch of surveying done before the big snowstorm, both on the sandstone at the front end, but well aware of that and are working on that. But yeah, you've got the homeowner on the side and the storage units there, and then you've got another entryway. There's, I think, at least 2 residential entrance along there. So well aware of all of those things. They're part of construction and working on, but I don't think there's any encroachments they have to deal with. Just have to stay within the, there's not much room for construction easement. There's just not, it's just a little tight right that front end, just the way it is.
Single lane walking path.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of width you're probably talking about.
No, I think we changed that to an 8 foot instead of a 10.
Right.
Just
So,
because of room.
right. So, once you get it, people are walking the road now. Any path will be incredibly nice and getting the sight line, and you got a great facility out there. And if we can improve how that can be used, and I think one of the challenges we had that's not going to happen directly is trying to figure out how to get the path under the interstate as a path. Yeah, you're stopping there, and that was just a huge challenge, both engineering wise and cost wise, to figure out how to do that. The farmer and me was going to do it pretty simply, and that doesn't pass White Hot standards, or really it's federal standards because it's the interstate in which they have to implement the fed
You
sub.
don't have to build 2 brand new bridges for the interstate.
It was very cost prohibitive, but I still think we can do some things there to make that work well.
Yeah.
We're trying to make sure like I said, doing this together makes the most sense so we can both take advantage of some mobilization and make sure the designs are coordinated enough so that we can have a unified approach to it and not box either of us out, and that's what we really didn't want to do.
Any more questions for Jim?
Any generic questions outside of that even? It's worth a nickel. All right, I appreciate it. I think we're moving forward. Like I said, whenever, so you're probably looking then at the next meeting to maybe approve that amendment.
Correct.
Okay, and then we'll be ready to approve it on our end and keep going with it. So, but like I said, you guys won't be the signator to it. You just sign off on it, and then we'll go according to the MOU.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Mayor and Council. Appreciate it. Thanks, Ron.
Thank you very much, Jim. Any more items from the floor?
Jesse Bishop. I had a question for Ms. Iberlin, actually. That ordinance you mentioned earlier, 2-21-040, that was just a town ordinance.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor referenced some state statutes earlier. Is that on the record as well? Can we have those? Or is it just a town ordinance?
We're going to rely on the town ordinance at this time.
There's no statute overlaying this?
Not at this time.
Okay. Can I direct attention to Town Ordinance 2-21-020?
Sure can.
Chief of Police appointed by Mayor and governing body. The Chief of Police shall be appointed by the Mayor. Such appointment is subject to majority consent of the entire governing body and serve at the pleasure of the governing body without a specific term and may be discharged for cause at any time by a majority vote of all the members elected to the governing body. This is on record for town ordinance, yes?
Yes, sir.
This isn't under any kind of issues?
Well, there hasn't been an adverse action taken against Mr. Thiel's employment.
Point being then that there is something the governing body of the town of Glen Rock could do, not like you stated earlier, where it's entirely up to the mayor and the council has no say. Is that correct?
If the chief were to be terminated, that's a different conversation. Currently, the chief is on administrative leave with pay. He's being paid. He serves at the leisure of the mayor. The mayor can leave him on administrative leave.
And the governing body?
In perpetuity. The governing body gets involved if there's a decision to terminate him.
That's not written in the ordinance.
I'm sorry?
That isn't written in the ordinance.
What part?
That it has to be under termination.
Anyways,
there's no overlaying state statute that has any say in this. You're relying on town ordinances, and there's two of them conflicting each other. So it's not a black and white. It's up to the mayor and only the mayor.
I think you're misreading the ordinance
It's
here.
possible. I'm not that smart. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Any other items from the floor? If not, we'll move on to new business. First item of new business is Wyoming Child and Family Development.
A lot shorter than everybody else up here, apparently. Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Leanne Bright. I'm the Center Coordinator for Wyoming Child and Family Development Head Start here in Glen Rock. I brought with me today my family advocate, Shannon Miller. She is a resident here also in Glen Rock. And I brought her with me because she is our main avenue between the families we work with and the resources in Glen Rock. So she has a pretty important job working with us. I would first like to thank you guys for your past financial support for our company and the children and families that we work with for 0 to 5 years old. Local support has remained key in factoring, maintaining, and improving the quality of services provided to children and families in Glen Rock. There is a considerable return on your investment, including the current value of services provided by WCFD in excess of $350,000 to Glen Rock children and future savings known to be associated with quality early intervention services. WCFD is requesting your consideration of continued assistance of $1,000 for our program this year. Wyoming Child and Family Development in Glen Rock provides preschool education special education, speech and language therapy, physical therapy, occupational therapy, and other services designed to meet the individual needs of children that we serve. Services are provided to all children who qualify under the Individuals with Disabilities Act. WCFD Glen Rock Center provides free developmental screenings, including health, hearing, and vision to any child in the community ages birth through 5 years. Screening for potential developmental delays in children allows for early treatment and supportive services which enhance their skills and readiness for kindergarten. We would really like to get your support again this year. I know with COVID things have been difficult. We have significant budget cuts in our developmental disabilities program this year, which is making it harder and harder for us to provide these free services. We really want to get our name out there. There's a lot of people in Glen Rock that don't even know that we exist still, and we've been here for years and years. They don't know that we're a service to their children and their families. And so the more that we can get in local match funding, the longer we can offer free services to our families. Right now, Glen Rock Center screens approximately 80 children annually, referring approximately 20 of those annually. We are currently serving 17 children on early intervention services. So I have can she?
Sure.
Yeah, okay. That's our information and our local match confirmation sheet if you guys do decide to help us out again this year. Thank you guys so much for your consideration.
Thank you for coming up and talking to us. Next item of business on the new business is a special use permit for the Wyoming Game and Fish to be hosting an event at South Rec Complex on May 28th, 2021. This event will involve archery and pellet gun use. They would like permission for a temporary lift of the following Section 15-1-4, which excludes the discharge of firearms, BB guns, crossbows, bows, and any and all firearms. So I believe Mr. Bish and Mark Fritz, our principal from the high school, I'm spitting out my tongue here, probably wants to speak to us about this for a little bit before we make a motion. Go ahead.
Evening, Council. How are we?
Good.
I'm sure you guys know Cody Bish. I'm your game warden in town. I don't know how much you know about this program, but essentially it's an outdoor youth day. It's a skill-based outdoor day that my dream is that we can get every 7th grader in the school system and do this every year, and we'll get them out to South Rec and we'll just do some fishing stuff with them and some safe firearms handling with them, and with the use of just BB guns, and then some archery, actually fly tying and lure building, and then also some wildlife management. Kind of, if there's anybody any kid in the community that's interested in going into the wildlife field, maybe we can spark that interest. And Coulter Felton's been on board with being able to help out with if we do have the BB gun section of the skill-based outdoor day, that he could have some law enforcement there as well, just to be able to help. And I think it's a great community thing to show the kids that, hey, we might be law enforcement officers, but we're also here to be part of the community with you. And then Mark Fritz has been a huge help with just logistically saying, hey, I can get those kids out there.
So, yeah, and we're on board. We've met and went over it, and we're going to break the kids up into about a 1-to-10 ratio, and so we're going to get really small groups, and they'll be able to go group to group and get some key instruction for that. And I also want to thank Cody. He's done a nice job. He's came into the schools and did some hunter safety this year, and we want to get a partnership with him so we can get hunter safety right in the school. So every kid that would leave us would get hunter safety and get that out of the way, and we could partner up with that. So we're on board. We're willing to help, and we'll get kids out there, and we'll feed them lunch, and hopefully they have a great day. If everything works out. So.
Thank you guys for coming up and talking to us. I know that there's been a good interest in this, and there's a good interest from our PD about also being involved in this with you guys, for this being the first time for this to happen. So we'll hope it moves through well. So is there a motion for the special use permit?
I have a couple questions first.
You bet.
Mayor.
Yep.
Okay.
This is at no cost to these children or their families, is correct?
Yes, ma'am. Yep.
Now, do we have any rural schools in our community that have 7th grade students? And if so, would they be eligible to attend this?
Not to my knowledge, the Box Elder School goes through 6th grade, and unless
We don't have any rural schools. A splendid program. Congratulations on trying to help these kids.
Well, thanks for helping me out with this, and just for you guys to know, I'm on my end for the last 3 years. I've been independently through the Game and Fish, trying to get grant money, and I've successfully got a cargo trailer, and I've got the air rifles, I got the archery equipment, I got everything ready to go. So, thank you for your consideration in this, and
We can't sign up?
I think it should be pretty fun.
Thanks, Cody.
Real quick, just so you guys know, May 27th is our last day at the school, and we always do community service our last day. So if you guys have any things at the park that you need painted or cleaned up, I've got a little bit of a work crew that day that we're going to go out and give back to our community and do that, and that's on the 27th. So if you have anything, send it my way, and we'll get some kids out there to do it.
Cool.
Thank you.
I'll hook up with Randy on that.
Yep.
Thank you, Council.
Thanks, Cody.
Okay, is there a motion for the special use permit?
I'll make a motion that we do the special use permit for Wyoming Game and Fish.
There's a motion, is there a second?
I'll second it.
It's been motioned and seconded. Any discussion?
Should we amend the motion to say at the South Rec Complex only, or?
Yeah, it's only going to take place out there. I don't know that it has to say that, but it's...
It says it in the special
Pretty
use
well
permit.
defined in this.
Okay. Any other discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed by nay, motion carries. Next order of business is the use agreement for the use of the South Rec by the Wyoming Game and Fish for a youth outdoor day on May 20th. Approximate number of individuals attending they have here is 100. Is there a motion?
A motion that we approve the use agreement for the South Rec Complex for the Game and Fish.
Motion, is there a second?
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed by nay, motion carries. Next order of business is bills and claims. Is there a motion?
Make a motion that we pay our bills and claims.
Motion to pay. Is there a second?
I'll second. Go ahead. I second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Yeah. What are we buying? Another vehicle or something?
Where?
$38,427.
Which one is
5947.
Yeah, that's the service truck we got.
Service truck that was
ordered on July. It was budgeted for.
July last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a
We don't
budget.
need a resolution for that?
No.
No, okay.
Okay, I have a couple. Oh, go ahead.
Engineering. What are those big bills for? And I probably should have emailed you ahead of time. Sorry, Kelly.
If I remember right, there's 3 of them in here. I did split them out according to project. There was one that directly relates to the lift station. It's being redone. There was one that was sizable. It was split between water, sewer, I believe maybe streets. I'll have to find it here. And that was actually work done in December and January. They finally got the bill, but we took it back to them, made them split everything out to where we could code it correctly. And the third one is on the transmission line, the transmission pipeline, and preliminary on that.
Thank you.
Okay, mine was, what's the trestle lighting for $7,600?
That's the
That's
cost.
the trestle lights we had
Lights
to pay
that
for.
were
That was
installed on the trestle. We had.
Yeah, but I thought we had already done that. I questioned the wiring, and then the second time I thought we did the
no. We were
lights.
waiting for the lights to come in, and once they got the lights in and put up, they sent me the bill.
Okay. Then I have one, another one. What's the $80,000 rental on a dump truck?
We didn't rent one.
It's a
We
purchase.
finally found one
It's
to buy, a
through-
used one.
That's one that was also approved in budget this last year.
So we're buying this dump truck?
Yes.
For 80 grand, okay.
Did we
I
approve
think
80?
you budgeted more than that, didn't you?
No, I budgeted 80, hoping I could find one for that.
Okay, and then I know we had extra, Andrew Hunt helped with the snow removal, that's no problem, but did any of the guys want to get any, like, a lot of overtime for that to help out with the snow removal, or were they all?
Oh, they all had overtime or comp time.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, I guess that's it. Oh, and then on that CEPI for the Deer Creek RV Park.
That's the lift station.
Okay, so we're pretty in, okay.
That's coming out of the 100,000 that was allotted for that.
Okay.
Guys, refresh my memory on the pole barn addition, 50 grand.
Oh, those are the two additions on the garbage, where we park the garbage trucks up there. We're adding 2 more bays, one on each side.
Oh.
Chad is doing that. I budgeted that this year for this year too, and they're just now getting started.
Okay, so it's been budgeted.
Yes. And I did go out to bid on it.
Just a lot of big checks this month.
Yeah. Well, Chad just asked, he had a lot of money out of his pocket for all the material and asked if we could at least pay for the materials, and I said yes. So.
Well, my question is, does CEPI charge to just talk to anybody for the town? We're putting.
We have a lot of projects actually going on with CEPI.
I'm just
Infrastructure
curious.
and things in the future, working on our
I understand
5-year to
that.
25-year plan. That's an ongoing thing at all times. That's something that Randy and I deal with just about every day.
Now, is the town in a contract with CEPI, like for 5 years or 3 years, or how does that work?
They're just hired.
They're just hired?
They're just hired. They have to have a contract with us to do water development commission money.
Okay.
The grant that we got, they have to have a contract on that project with us. So.
Okay.
And I have been making them split them out because they just send me one big bill and I don't know what's water, what's sewer, what's streets, so I can code them correctly.
Okay, thank you.
Any more questions on bills and claims?
The dog is okay.
Yes.
Our dog is okay, all right.
Just so you're aware, I'm sorry for the interruption, but there is one claim for you, Mayor.
Yes, I was
and
going to say
one for John.
I'm going to abstain from the vote unless there's a tie, and then I will vote at that time. Okay, there's been a motion and a second. Any more discussion? If not, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed by nay. Motion carries. Seeing that there's nothing else on our agenda, is there anything else to come before the council tonight before I ask for a motion to adjourn? Is there a motion to adjourn?
I move we adjourn the meeting.
Motion, is there a second?
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Not, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed by nay. Motion carries. You guys will hang around and sign the paperwork for
Bills.
Kelly really quick.
Got to sign this so you can keep the dog running.
Go on west.
Like I was going through.
Well, let's get them paid. We won't have to pay them sometimes. Got to pay them. Got to pay your bills. That's just how it goes out there in the real world, isn't it?
My gun pull.
You're a good
I don't have all my guns.
You are a good producer. Thank you. New career, Jared. A new career.
Cal, thank you. That's the first time I met him. Yeah,
There you go.
they're cutting out some of the Arrow ditch.
They both can click.
Yeah, they were going that wide. Jason said, we're not going that wide.
I think